Right, good morning. I'm making this little video. I just discovered some information. I'm going to start making a lot of videos like this because, as we all know in the UK, um, as Nigel Farage is making us aware, there's been this slow, stealth dictatorship invasion of the UK, where unelected politicians are being put into positions of power with the power and decisions to make laws and write laws. And today I'm going to talk very strongly about one of those laws which I strongly and completely repeal. This is something I found out just now. We have the right to repeal a law, but we're not aware of this. Now, the first law I'm going to talk about today is using a mobile phone while we're driving. Now, first of all, what's happened after I've studied all this, I've looked at all this, I've researched all of this, and everybody I talk to agrees with me in the end. Before you go to these little red lights going off in your mind telling you what nonsense. So I'll go first of all destroy for you the fact that it is dangerous to use a mobile phone while driving. I'm going to destroy this completely, as you will see in a minute. Okay, firstly, I'll just put this little point. I was a taxi driver from 1990 until, it might have been 91, I can't remember exactly. It might have been 92 actually, but anyway, I was a taxi driver from the early 90s until 2003. I think it was 91. Maybe, I think it may have been 92. No, I moved. Anyway, it was about, yeah, about 90, well, anyway, early 90s. And I was driving for over 10 years as a taxi driver. And you had to have a mobile phone to run your own business. Because otherwise you had to have a secretary, an office. And that's not a financial possibility as a one-man taxi business to employ a secretary and a receptionist to answer phones and radio through calls and take all 24 hours when you work 24 hours. You have to have a phone. Anyway, I was driving for over 10 years and I was driving about 60,000 miles a year as a taxi driver. And I would say at least 20% of the time I had a phone to my ear while I was driving. So if we go, I don't want to exaggerate. So 10 years times, what's 20%? 15, 10, that's 150,000 miles I drove with passengers in the car, customers on the phone. I drove on the phone for 150,000 miles without so much as a scratch or anything. I'm very experienced at driving a car while using a phone. It's no different in reality to having the window open, holding the steering wheel one hand and talking to the passenger. It's no different, not really. No difference whatsoever. So if you've got your free hand out the window and I'm talking to the passenger, what's the difference between bringing that free hand up and talking on the phone while you're driving? There's no difference. Unless phones are bad for you. So are phones bad for you? Well, they're telling us they're not, so I don't think they were because it didn't affect me. My brother was also a taxi driver. He was doing the same. And there's about 120 taxi drivers. Well, there's 195 taxi drivers and private hire drivers in my town. and they all drove for 10 years plus. They all do about the same mileage. So there's 200 times 150,000. What's that? Hang on, I'll just do a quick sum. I didn't actually do this one before, it's just popped in my mind to add to the statistics. Because you need to look at statistics to justify law. So we got 195 times 150,000. 29,250,000 miles driven in my town alone by taxi drivers and public hire, private hire taxi drivers. In my town alone, and we're just a 5-mile radius. 29 million miles driven. Never heard anyone having an accident. I never heard of any taxi driver having an accident. We're very experienced at driving, because we drive for a living. And anyway, and in that time, 10 years, I never heard of anybody having an accident or killing anybody while they were driving on the phone. So the chances of it happening are extremely small. The chances of having an accident while you're driving using a mobile phone, very small. Anyway, in 2003, it was made illegal to use the phone while you're driving. By the EU, I presume, because they were writing our laws. 2003. And what happened is I thought, well, bugger this, because I knew that the police they overlooked things with taxi drivers because they knew we'd break the speed limit and you go up one way, all sorts of things taxi drivers do, as you can probably see in London. They go backwards up one-way streets and all sorts, mate. All sorts of things they do, because we do, and the police don't bother them because they know we're getting somebody from A to B, and we probably got drunks in the car, which is trouble, and we just need to get them home. We need to get them home quickly. For our safety, their safety, and public safety, to take the drunk out of the way. We've got to get them there quick, get them out the car, in their own door. So we do bend the rules a little bit sometimes, but it's sort of necessary. No different to a police car speeding or whatever, an ambulance on the way to emergency. It's the same sort of thing, really. Now, so what's happened is one person's had an accident in the country and it's been blown up, all out of proportion. I know it's a terrible thing for someone to have an accident. Especially if they were using the phone, but the chances are that it would have happened anyway, because I remember I had a couple of close ones when I was using the phone, but it was somebody else made the mistake, but I just dropped the phone and took control of the car and avoided the accident anyway. Made no difference, I was still aware. But anyway, what's happened is this. It was made illegal in 2003 to use the phone while you're driving. Where is it? To use your mobile phone while driving. So now, instead of driving, using the phone and chatting to the customer or something on the phone while you're driving, what happened is people dropped the phone on their lap and started texting while they were driving. Because it was illegal to use the phone now, they got two problems which came with this law. The phone was dropped on the lap. They were texting. We're now texting. I've seen this every time, loads of times. You can see it as people drive by. They're texting. They're driving now because they don't want to be seen using the phone because they don't want to get a fine and endorsement. So they're texting, plus looking around for police. So their focus on their driving, because it's been made illegal to use the phone while driving, their focus on driving safely has been taken away from driving safely to driving protectively from getting an endorsement and a fine. So now it's become a little bit more dangerous, a lot more dangerous. But even though it's been made a lot more dangerous because it's been made illegal, last year was one of the worst years on record from people being killed driving while using a mobile phone. Worst years. And I'm going to give you these statistics in a minute to chew over. Last year, on the government website I looked at with statistics, it showed that 11 million people, they record somehow, they know people are moving and using the phone, they record 11 million people a day driving, making a journey while using a mobile phone. They've got this, I don't know how, but they do. So 11 million. Now I times that by 365. I forget what it came to now. Hold on, I'll just check. I think it was 25 billion or something. Hang on. Right, so 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 11 million times 365. Oh yeah, that's right. 4 billion 15 million. So 4 billion journeys are driven in the UK now every year by people using a mobile phone. 4 billion. And that's out of, I think it's 25 billion journeys, the total. I think, I can't remember. It wasn't exact, but anyway, whatever. 4 billion. Now, 4 billion. Hang on, let's do this again. 4 billion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 3, 6, 5. 4 billion. Right, 4 billion journeys were made last year by drivers using a mobile phone while driving. Even though it's illegal and they were texting and stuff, and it's much more dangerous now because it's illegal. Because they're concentrating on looking for police cars and texting instead of using a mobile phone while they're driving, and concentrating on safe driving. They're focusing on looking for police so as not to get caught, and looking down to the attention to the road safety is probably halved, at least halved. In fact, if you divide it up, safe driving, you texting and looking for police into 3, you've probably lost 66% of your awareness on safety because you're texting, because it's illegal. Right. Anyway, 4 billion. 20, I think it's 24, but I'm going to say 25. 25 people were killed last year because of mobile phone use. Divided by 25 equals, out of every 160 million, 600,000 journeys, 160 million, 600,000 journeys, one person was killed. I know it's terrible. I know it's not right. Terrible. So 160 million, 600,000 journeys. You read that? 160 million, 600,000 journeys made by people using a mobile phone while driving. One person got killed. So that means 160,600,000 to 1. 160 million, forget the 600,000. 160 million to 1 chance of being killed by a driver using a mobile phone. 160 million to 1. That's a statistical fact. Government fact. 166 million to 1. Now, remember that, 160 million to 1. Now then, I'm going to give you another statistic. Last year, and I'm not saying this is dangerous, but last year was one of the safest years on flying record. There were 330 million flights, journeys, and 330 people killed. So only 1 in a million flights killed one person. That makes flying statistically very safe. Right? That's what they're saying. It's very safe. So 1 in a million is classed as very safe. What it is. But 1 in 160 million is extremely dangerous. But statistically, it is 160 times safer to sit next to someone using a mobile phone while driving than it is to fly. So I repeal this bogus law, this bloody thing, can't use the phone while you're driving, because they're forcing people to text, because people think that they can do it, and they can, pretty much, but the odd thing happens. So it's been made dangerous, and I do wonder how many of those 24 or 25 people that were killed last year using a mobile phone while driving would not have been killed if it wasn't illegal. So there's like a reverse thing. This making a law in the pretense of protecting you is actually killing more people. I repeal it completely. I don't agree with it. It needs wiping out, and we need to be illegal to text, but not illegal to make a phone call. Okay? That's what it should be. So people know that they can make a phone call when they're driving, and they can still concentrate on their driving, so they're not worried about police seeing them using a phone call, but it's definitely illegal to text because it's been made more dangerous to make it illegal. So we all need to repeal this bloody stupid law, which has been blown out of all proportion on false statistics, been twisted to create a law that's not warranted or justified. Yes, people have been killed. Yes, people have accidents. It's because they're texting, because it's illegal. Make it illegal to text while you're driving, and not illegal to drive or using a mobile phone. Because at least you can concentrate, not worry about being seen by police, and focus on road safety. And we will see the dangerous statistics come down from driving while using a mobile phone. It needs repealing, so we all need to do this. We all need to write to the government and repeal this law. All of us. It's not as dangerous as you think. I remember in 2003 when it was made illegal, and some close to run my business, and people would phone up, and people would phone up for a taxi, and I would be driving. I'd have the phone to my ear, a pen and paper in my hand, a cup of coffee between my legs, steering on my knees, listening to them, talking to them, writing down their address and phone number and name, and the time I had to pick them up on a bit of paper. While I was talking to them, passengers in the car, no one complained ever. No one ever said a thing for 10 years. I did it thousands of times with thousands of... I actually worked it out. I think I taxied about 100... Over those years, I taxied about 180,000 people. Not once did anybody say I feel dangerous or anything. Not once. Out of 180,000 customers in my taxi, did anybody ever complain. But when it was made illegal in 2003... to use a phone while driving, I remember the first night after, it was a Friday night, I was driving along and the phone goes, I picked the phone up, I said, hello, taxi, and all the customers went, oh, you're dangerous, you're going to kill us. They all went into panic mode. Stop the phone, I'm going to call the police on you. You shouldn't drive with the... And I thought, what the hell? I couldn't answer the phone. I started to lose business. I started to lose customers because people used to call me a response. They wanted to pick it up in 5 or 10 minutes to go from A to B. And I couldn't phone them back until I'd finished. The customer didn't want to stop for me to make the phone call to do my business. And my business started to sink. It affected my business. And I lost lots of customers because of this law. They caused me a huge loss in the pretense of safety, which made things more dangerous. So, there you go. That's my little vlog today about driving with a mobile phone law. It's bogus. Built on bogus statistics. Absolutely. Which have actually become worse since it's been made illegal because people are texting. Their focus is taken away from driving safely onto looking at the phone to send the text, read, and looking for police, so as not to get caught. So it's been made very dangerous. It needs to be made illegal to text or driving to stop people doing that, because people have got into the habit of it probably, and not illegal to make a phone call. Yeah, so there you go. My little rant on that, and I'm going to repeal it. I'm going to write a letter and repeal this law because I don't agree with it. Whether it'll work or not, I don't know, but I'm going to. Which is another thing. I might make that another subject about repeal. I'm looking on the internet today, and there is a way that we can repeal laws, which means we don't agree to them. And I think if you repeal laws, they don't apply to you. So I'll make another video of that tomorrow, maybe. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment. Please subscribe. I'm going to be doing a lot of these things because I've got a lot of information. A lot of information. So I've discovered. Personally. Another video, which I'm going to make later, is about how to make your immune system so strong you're never ill. It beats. Basically, I'll talk about this in another video, next one. So keep subscribing, and I'll tell you about it later. I'm going to make a video about what I've done to make my immune system so strong that I believe it will cure cancer. In fact, I don't believe, I know it will. I know. You see, our immune system, I don't give too much away in this one because it's going to get crossed over. Our immune system is strong enough to beat cancer, but as we get older, it weakens. So you need to keep your immune system very, very strong to stop the possibility of even getting cancer. It stops it as soon as it starts. I would be happy to prove this because I would be happy to be injected with cancer. I know my immune system will kill it. Anyway, that's another video. I'll explain that later in another video. Plus a lot of other things I've discovered. So subscribe and listen out. I've got some information. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Makes you indestructible. Never ill. You become superhuman, basically. Right. Good luck. Thank you. Bye.